New York City is famous for being a melting pot of cultures. Throughout the boroughs, there are concentrated areas of immigrant communities which have preserved their cultural roots. Brighton Beach, also known as Little Odessa, is an iconic Russian-Ukrainian neighborhood famous for its strong ties to its heritage. The 1930s and 40s brought a huge influx of people from Europe who were escaping the oppression of fascists and Nazis. To make it easier for the immigrants to navigate and survive the new country, ethnic enclaves formed in which people of the same background would live together, forming a close-knit community. The previously sleepy middle-class neighborhood of Brighton became a hotspot of Russian and Ukrainian culture. The city's fiscal crisis in the 1970s caused many middle-class families to migrate to the suburbs. This came at the same time as the relaxation of the Soviet Union's immigration policies. Thousands of Soviet Jews from Ukraine and Russia settled into Brighton Beach. The neighborhood became known as Little Odessa after the port city on the Black Sea, where many immigrants hailed from. Odessa had one of the largest Jewish populations in the former Soviet Union, with its unique humor, cuisine, and traditions. The immigrants who arrived in the 1970s helped define the boundaries of the neighborhood, and once the USSR fell in the 90s, Brighton welcomed thousands of ex-Soviets. The new immigrants helped reinforce the strength of the culture in Little Odessa. Danislav's story is a story of many immigrants who settled into Little Odessa, learning to assimilate to America while maintaining a strong tie to the culture he left behind.
I like to have better opportunity for my family to avoid discrimination. We moved from Odessa in 1989. This first shock what I got when I come to Brighton. Everybody speak Russian. Every signs in Russian. And it was for me, it's not America, it's Russia. It was very nice because I just know two words in English, hi and bye. In Brighton, remind me in Odessa, it's sea. I was born near the sea and I very like sea, I like beach, it's my life. I like in the morning just walk on the boardwalk and my friends come in and walk together with me. It's easier for me speak Russian, and then that connect me with people who speak Russian. I got a lot of friends on Brighton Beach, but who is not in Brighton Beach, and to connect with them, I go to Skype, and you see how many I got. Why you go to America? You make a mistake. Everybody tell you so smart. You go out of this country, and like one friend tell, Russia, it's very good country because you can move out of this country and you never be sad of this. We give to our grandchildren a root of Russian culture, and I'm sure to some of my grandchildren this root got also small roots. Maybe not everybody got this, but I think in my family it will be like this.
Fiona, Danislav's youngest granddaughter, is first-generation Russian American. Her experience living in the Russian epicenter of New York City helped her understand her roots and feel connected to a community of people with similar backgrounds.
Growing up, I would always come to Brighton Beach over the summer. It was kind of like a camp for me. I'd always visit my grandfather and my grandmother, and we would have the best time going to the beach every morning and eating homemade food. I enjoy living near Brighton because I'm very connected to all of my Russian roots. Also, there's so many stores that you can go to, and it's always fun because there's always something happening. Like there's always like a person yelling at another person in Russian, to two grandmas fighting with each other over caviar. On Brighton, there's a lot of playgrounds. I got to talk with a lot of Russian children, and that also bettered my experience to learn Russian. There's also so many unique stores, like there's a store dedicated to desserts and meat, and it's very enchanting as a child because there's just so much to look at and there's so much samples that you could eat, which I think was one of my favorite parts. I feel like if I were to come back to Brighton Beach in 10 years, it would be exactly the same because when I was 5 years old, there was the same grandma making pirashki, and there's still the same grandma making pirashki today.
Today, the neighborhood is still a vibrant sanctuary of Russian and Ukrainian culture. The main street running under the elevated tracks of the B&Q trains is bustling with Russian stores and restaurants specializing in vareniki and shashlik, Russian for dumplings and shish kebabs. Delicacy shops selling black caviar and fur coats are status items and comfort food for these immigrants.
When I come to America, I tell, God bless America.